Welcome to Positive Outcomes, where leaders turn hard-won experience into income, impact, and freedom.
Welcome to Positive Outcome Podcast. This is where professionals and leaders turn their expertise into income, impact, freedom. And of course, I'm your host for tonight, Doreen. And today we have an amazing guest here with us tonight, Mark. Mark has lived through many schools of hard knocks. Originally aiming for a law career, Mark pivoted early into family machinery businesses, where he led international joint ventures operating as asset-based finance company and even served in National Trade Association leadership roles. But in 2004, Mark and his wife Lynn shifted to residential real estate, and together they built a powerhouse team that dominated the luxury high-rise condominium market on LA West Side. Their success includes designations like Coldwell Banker's Top 100 Agents in Southern California and the Elite Society of Excellence Award, honoring agents generating more than $1 million in commission. Beyond real estate, Mark is a published author of 2 science fiction fantasy books, a puzzle enthusiast, and 78 plus completed Since the Lockdown, a global traveler exploring Jewish life, and a proud grandfather. Next year, Mark and Lynn will be celebrating 50 years. Congratulations of marriage. Mark, you are so welcome to Positive Outcomes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, such a very, very impressive background, and I'm looking forward to us having a great conversations, and I'm looking forward to the listeners, the viewers, to learn from everything that you have to offer, from your expertise, from your journey, from your wisdom, and everything. So listeners, please take your notebook, your pen, your papers. Let's get ready to roll. So Mark, take us back to those days, to those early pivots, right? From law school to the family machinery business. What were the biggest lessons about resilience and reinvention?
Well, you have to do your research. If you're going to go into law school, you better understand what it is to be a lawyer. Lesson number 1. I thought every lawyer was Perry Mason. Very few lawyers end up in litigation in court. The lion's share of legal work is done in Wilshire Corridor office building where you're stuck in a cubicle all day long. That wasn't me. Yeah, well, that's where law work is done. And the second lesson to learn is, don't think that just because somebody has initials after their name or a degree, that they're smarter than you are. They may not be. They aren't. Okay? Don't take that for granted. If you are hardworking and you're resilient and you're a motivated person and you're a person that gets excited about getting up every morning and going to work, you're going to do terrific. Okay? I don't care who the person is in front of you telling you not to do this or not to do that. Follow your gut and just go steam ahead.
Wow, I love it. Hard work pays off. Follow your gut and steam ahead. Wow.
Yes.
And don't worry about the titles. Just work hard, follow your gut, and keep going. So that is really a good nugget for us to take with us tonight, right? So what did you learn from diversifying into international ventures and finance? And how did that stop your approach? How did that shape your approach into real estate?
When I started working in the family business, they made money by buying a machine for $1 and selling it for $2. Speculative purchases of assets. Those margins started growing smaller and smaller as manufacturing started moving out of the United States. So the move into international joint ventures, we actually had several divisions. The move to international joint ventures, having a new machinery division, asset-based lending, and a manuals division were all ways about me trying to diversify our company into a number of different income streams to make up for the declining profits in the speculative warehousing of machinery. Now, as it turns out, didn't matter how hard I worked or what I did, those days were gone. That business is a shadow of its former self. That's fine. I gave it my all. And in the end, I had an auction and I had to decide what to do, with selling off the rest of my assets and just deciding whether to retire. My wife wanted me to retire. And I used the lessons that I learned from machinery. When you're a small entrepreneur, you are the vice president of human resources. You are vice president of legal.
Mm-hmm.
You are the guy that sweeps the floors.
Mm-hmm.
You are the president of the company. You're the head salesman. You are all of it.
Everything.
So I wanted to take my talents that I had learned and take it into a business where I could get paid for it. I could have stayed in machinery, but I'm a big believer in your self-worth. What are you worth?
Wow.
Okay. And
I
so
love
if
that.
you're not thinking you're not being paid enough, no matter how hard you work, then move on. And that's what I did. So I moved into real estate because I felt that my wife, first of all, had already started and had done incredibly well. I felt that the two of us together, because we're opposite in so many ways, two
And
of
that's
us
what makes it
together,
works.
and it did. It did. It
Yeah.
worked right away. And we took off like a bat out of hell and never looked back ever since. Our numbers just kept going up and up and up. And Coldwell Banker, the company I worked for the first 16 years of it, kept marching us in front of their graduating classes and basically saying, hey, if the Rogos can do it, anybody can do it. Having us at the graduation tell the students, if you're
Wow.
getting a license now in real estate, here's what you need to do. And I promise you, you follow this formula, you'll make a lot of money in real estate.
Amazing.
A brain surgeon, as they say,
Right.
or a rocket scientist. You just got to be able to work hard. Remember, in real estate, it's 7 days a week. And 7 days a week means you're working hard. You're not working full days,
Right.
but you are doing business and paying
Every
attention
day.
to your phone, answering your email, having coffee, having lunch with a couple of buddies, and so forth.
Mhm.
7 days a week.
Wow. So if you have someone now that is diversifying, I know you've been the route and then you came down to settle on real estate, and we'll talk about that in a minute. If you have someone that is in that place where you were some years ago, where they're diversifying, what advice would you give them?
Surround yourself with really smart people. And that's what I did. I added some incredibly brilliant men, particularly my father-in-law, onto my corporate board, okay, to give me advice. Never take for granted you have all the answers. We are all fortunate to be in touch with people that are captains in their industry, whatever it happens to be. Get a group of guys, take them to dinner, and have them brainstorm you, not in a restaurant, but in a private room somewhere, a private room at dinner, and brainstorm with them and say, this is the situation. What would you do? What do you think? Seek out advice. Okay. Look for other people to do, and then do your own research and understand yourself. We all have good things about us. We all have bad things about us. Or not bad things. Let me say detriments, lack of skills sets one way or the other, and recognize that so you put yourself into a job description or an industry or a career path that you have the highest likelihood to meet your goals. Your goal should never be, I want to make a lot of money.
Oh, wow.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. If you have a passion for it, if you love it, you will be successful at it. Doesn't matter what it is, digging ditches or brain surgery or anything in between. You've got to have a passion for it. You've got to get up in the morning and say, damn, I can't wait to go to work. I
Wow.
can't wait. That's a career. If you
Yes.
just get up in the morning and say, oh, God, I can't wait till the 8 hours are over, that's just a job.
And
You
what do
should be
you
looking
say
for a
to
career.
those people that you've said some amazing things here? We talked about hard work in the beginning. You mentioned about knowing your self-worth, which
Yes.
was so critical. And then you went ahead and talked about surrounding yourself with people that you can brainstorm ideas. And you talked about your passion, and it's not about the money, it's about your passion. So this brings me to the question where, what about those people that just I don't want to say they have to, they feel stuck. Like, how can you help them navigate where they have this passion, but they are waking up every day and going to a job that they hate, absolutely don't like, but they need the money to be able to take care of their families, their children, pay their bills, and they have a passion, right?
Well, that's a tough one. Because let me tell you, I've met a lot of people in my life, and many of them with passions, but yes, stuck in a position because they cannot afford to go without a paycheck.
Right,
Okay. So they dare not, with their responsibilities for their family, and they might have elderly parents living with them
right,
or
exactly.
something. They have to pay attention to that. And that is a tough situation. It's almost impossible to get out of that box.
Right, right.
And for those people, my heart goes out to you, because if you
Yeah.
really have a passion, every day it's killing you not to pursue your passion. And so, if you're not stuck in that box, my answer to you is the only thing standing between you and success is you, your own mentality, your
Wow.
own frame of mind. Don't create the hurdles. Okay. Instead, plow that ship forward. Just plow that ship forward. I watched a movie the other day where the bad guy was in the front seat telling the driver, and they're being shot at and bombs falling, everything. And she just looked at the driver and says, "Just keep moving forward. Don't stop." And that's the right answer.
Right.
Keep
Yeah.
moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Don't stop. And you
Ask
said
questions.
something. Yeah.
Ask questions. Do research. Read
Right.
about it. Never quit learning about it, whatever it is.
Yes. Wow, this is some good nugget for us. He said, never stop learning about it. No matter where you're stuck right now, this goes to our listeners. He is telling us today that keep learning, keep pushing. This is probably just temporal. Don't give up, keep growing, and it will make it happen. So now let's shift now to you moving into real estate, right? After, the diversity, you said, okay, now let's do the real estate. You and your wife are known as the go-to team for is it Wilshire Corridor luxury condos?
Wilshire Corridor, yes.
What gave you the foresight to specialize in this so deeply?
Well, actually, we didn't. Just about the time that we were going into real estate together, Lynn got her license 2.5 years before me. We were moving out of our house in Little Homeby, which is a beautiful 4,000 square foot, 2-story house. And we were moving into this condominium. I guess it was 3,400 square feet. We're moving into this condominium, and this condominium is 4,000 square feet. And it's a beautiful third floor condominium with incredible views all the way to the ocean, to the Hollywood Hills, down to the airport, over to the Griffith Observatory. And I thought that I was going to be a real estate agent in Holmby Hills, where I had been living with my family for 20 years. I was knocking on doors there. But as we found out, and you got to be prepared to pivot. Opportunity knocks on your door every day. It's just a question if you're going to hear the knock or not. We would bring people into our condominium to show them what condominiums are, because a lot of people get confused between apartment complexes,
Yes.
but luxury condominiums.
Yeah.
And they'd see our condominium and say, wow, we want to live in something like this. So we found out very quickly that using our home as a showcase, that we could move into the luxury high-rise condominium market, because most agents are lazy. They're just lazy, and they don't want to work hard enough. And selling condominiums is a lot harder than selling homes.
Wow.
So, and they all went into the homes because they're looking for the low-lying fruit. The condominiums are harder, and I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me. Got to be a little bit more sophisticated to understand the rules of this building versus that building, and the idiosyncrasies of that building versus that building. And we excelled in it. And last time I checked on our numbers, we have sold over 580 sold or bought over 580 homes in Los Angeles, and 2/3 of that was condominiums.
Wow. That is very, 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 very impressive. You said that you are prepared.
Right.
You are prepared. So what you're telling us tonight is just to be ready, so that when the opportunity shows up, you're ready to pivot.
That's right. Pivot and take advantage of the opportunity.
Yes.
Don't let it go by. Once it's gone, it's gone. And we've pivoted. We've shifted our marketing into people that are moving out of big houses into condominiums. We shifted our focus on what our testimonies were about to condominiums. And we made it a lesson to know every manager up and down the Wilshire Corridor, and to create our own internal list of the idiosyncrasies, the amenities, the number of units, average dollar per square foot, everything about every one of these 42 high-rise condominiums between Beverly Hills and Westwood, San Diego Freeway.
That is amazing. So how do you balance the 3 pillars of your services, like finding the right home, negotiating the best deal, and keeping clients out of trouble? How do you negotiate all the aspects of what you do?
Well, a lot of clients expect you to say that your most important job is to negotiate for them the best price on the best terms. I actually believe that a bigger part of my job is to keep them out of trouble, keep them away from litigation, keep them away from houses or condominiums that can be a money pit. You know, I tell my clients when they're ready to buy something, and if I don't like it, I tell them, you are not buying that house. You are not buying that condo. And this is why. And it's not my money. I really don't have the right to tell them that, but I tell them anyway. And, in every single instance, a day later, when they thought about it, they agreed that they appreciate me being so upfront and honest, okay, about staying away from problems. So that's the number one. That's the number one thing. And what was the other two that you said?
Negotiate between the best deals, keeping your clients out of trouble, and getting them the right home.
Getting them the right home and the best deal is sort of it's like a rocking horse. When you have husband and wife, what's important to the husband is not important to the wife, and vice
Yes.
versa. Okay.
Yes.
And what I kind of tell them, it's up to the needs and biases and so forth of the individual client. If we have a young couple just newly married, I tell them we're going to put as a priority equity buildup, appreciation. You're going to live there for 5 years and you're going to be squeezed in a smaller area and you maybe don't like it as much as that other one that you saw. But in 5 years, when you realize how much more equity dollars you're taking to the real home that you're going to live in, you're going to thank me. And I've done this with all the children of our friends. Our friends
Yes.
come to us and say, can you get Johnny a house? And I may
Yes.
say, well, I think actually, Johnny, forgetting about a house, Johnny should be in a fourplex. Let Johnny learn how to manage his own affairs, how to manage properties, let him build up in an income property. And then when Johnny's going to get married and wants a white picket fence, he's got a lot more equity dollars to take with him.
Wow, that is amazing. A
And we
lot
have
of
other
people,
clients.
yes. I'm hoping that we are learning. That is something that, because sometimes people rush into getting houses and buying things that one, they can't afford, or it's not time yet. So I like the fact that you're really embodying the fact that their best interests are heart, to make sure that you do a need assessment of your clients and give what is best for them.
Always. I don't want to hear what my nightmare is. I don't want to hear from them and get a phone call 6 months later and say, Mark, I can't stand here. I don't like this place. I hate it. Get me out of here. Then I failed in my job.
Has that happened to you before?
Never happened yet. Never happened.
Good. That's good.
And by the way, I'm in West Los Angeles. This is a different market than Biloxi, Mississippi, or Boise, Idaho. Everything here is so expensive. It just boggles your mind. Nobody should ever rush into a deal or make this kind of a financial commitment under pressure or put themselves under pressure. It's not worth it. Just do your homework ahead of time. Be ready to go, have what you need to pull the trigger, but then go test the market. Find out, go out with your agent the first time and look at 20 different homes or 20 different condos with no intent to buy anything. Just
Right.
look at them and you'll get a feel about what your budget can buy. But just look at them to understand the market. Educate yourself.
Right.
Even after we go into escrow,
Mhm.
we're still looking for our clients. Because if I find something better, we're going to cancel that escrow and open up that new one. And even when we have our clients, we're selling something for them, we put it on the market. I tell them, I want you to go out on Sunday, open house, and I want you to look at all the other houses in this area, all the condominiums in this area, because I want you to know what the buyer's options are. Educate yourself. Why is yours better than that one? Or why is that one better than yours? That's how you negotiate from a point of strength, out of information.
From a point of strength, and giving them all the information that they need to make it like a really intense decision after considering all the other options that are available to them. And you're
Yes.
giving them all the resources, you're giving them everything that they need to make that informed decision before they go forward. That is just amazing. You want to tell us about one specific story that you've captured, one of your high-end client, like the trust and how the process went and how you coached them through the process and what was the scenario, what they were facing? I know you probably have so many of them.
I'll tell you a fun one, and then I'll tell you an educational one. The fun was, and we're not going to use any names here. The fun one was beautiful condo that a friend of mine had me sell, actually 2 units put together. And here comes a household name in the music business, and
Uh-huh.
he's buying it for his mistress. All right, so that's fine with me. That's none of my business.
Right. Oh,
And he's buying it, and we kind of know each other, sort of, kind of from my country
right.
club, and he's a good guy, and he ended up buying it for. I have to give him credit. When his wife passed away, he was that. This is who he stayed with for the rest of his life.
Okay.
And so he bought it for her and so forth. But I got a phone call from the LA Times woman that does the real estate celebrity
Uh-huh.
column on Sundays. And she's asking me questions, and I'm telling her, Ruth, I don't know what you're talking about. Ruth, I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't want this to blow up. So
Right.
I went downtown and I talked to Ruth, convinced her not to put this in and so forth. And then later on, when I ran in, I said, you owe me. I'm not your agent. I represented the seller. I said, but
Yes.
you owe me because I kept your name out of the paper.
Yes. That
And
was
I said, the
good.
least you can do is send me a dinner ticket to to Mastro's or something. He never did, but he's a good guy.
Wow, that's a good one. That's
So
a
we
good
keep that
one.
very quiet. But then on the educational side of things, we had a client, a woman whose parents passed away,
Mm.
left her a very large home. She's a wonderful woman, but she's not of the world's sophistication and traveling in corporate jets.
Right.
She's a lawyer, okay, and she works for the county or the city, and she's raised a son, a wonderful son, by herself. Her parents pass away, and it's a
Mm.
big home in Bel Air, and we sell it. And then one day she says, Mark, she says, my father bought these medical buildings in Thousand Oaks. Can you look into them if I give you an address? And so, okay, I'll look into them. I'll figure they're like a little medical office. I drive over there on on the grounds of the hospital, the biggest hospital in that area, and these are
Wow.
two big buildings.
Wow.
And I said to her, I said, you know what? We need to do a little research here because this is more than what you described to me.
Yes, of course.
I did the research and I did interviews. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not in the medical office. I'm reaching out to experts in that area,
Right.
found the right experts. And at the end of the day, they sold those two buildings. When one agent told me that they're worth 5 or 6 million,
Wow.
these agents closed those two buildings at $8.5 million.
Amazing.
And her father, 30 years ago, her father funded this with $150,000. 30 years ago,
Wow. Top of
and
real estate
I
and
was
today.
thrilled for her. I was thrilled
Yes.
for her
Yes.
because, she's a city attorney or a county attorney, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And so she's not exactly setting the world on fire with that. It's
Right.
not a corporate salary. But here she was able to take advantage of her father's legacy and set herself up. And her son
Yes.
now just graduated high school. She can say to her son, you can go to school anywhere in the world you
That
want.
you want to go.
Isn't that
Amazing.
wonderful?
That's amazing. So for the young people that are listening to us that want to go into real estate and want to grow their business, just like to be how successful that you've been with you and your wife in the real estate world, what advice will you have for them?
Be honest. There will be opportunities for you to cut corners. Don't cut corners. Be honest. Be willing to work hard. Pay attention to detail. When I first got into this business, I fell asleep every night reading the contract, the purchase contract and the listing contract over and over and over and over again until I could practically recite it verbatim. But be conscientious. Don't look for the easy way out. Follow up on everything that you do and make sure you integrate real estate into your day-to-day habits. Even if you're standing at the grocery store and somebody strikes up a conversation, you don't have to say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Don't do that. Just have a conversation and
Mhm.
eventually sneak it in like, my busy days are Saturdays and Sundays because that's when in my industry we have open houses.
Mhm.
And that's when I'm working. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I sort of kind of take off. I didn't say the word real estate there at all, but I guarantee you that person knew I was a
It's
real
gonna
estate
ask.
agent.
Yes.
Everybody wants to talk about real estate.
Yes.
So if you're going to a party or
Mhm.
you're going to a group of people, do some quick work on the MLS and kind of educate yourself. Hey, in this area where I'm going to right now, what's going on in real estate? What's been sold? What's new on the market? What's the average dollar per square foot? How many have actually canceled because they're just frustrated? Do some education. Talk intelligently with people. Just,
That's
you
amazing.
know what? Always try and do better than the next guy. If he made 12 widgets, you want to make 13. If he worked 8 hours, you want to work 9 hours. Always stay competitive and always try and do better. Every day, figure out, what am I going to do today that will make me a better real estate agent? I have 2 questions every morning.
Wow.
What can I do to be a better real estate agent? And what can I do to be a better husband? And
Wow.
every day I ask myself that question. And every night before I go to bed, I know that the years, days, and months, okay, how many of how long I have been married. And I thank God for my wife, my daughters, my granddaughters, and then I go to sleep and I wake up with those 2 questions every day.
Wow, that is nuggets for all of us to learn today. Wow, wake up every morning and ask yourself 2 questions. If you're in real estate, you ask, what are you going to do to be a better agent? What are you going to do to be the best for your wife or your husband, your kids, your family? And then at the end of the day, reassess how your day went. And oh my God, that is amazing. That's a practice that I think everybody should be doing. Regardless if you're a real estate agent, whatever you're doing, wake up every morning and ask yourself, how can I be the best at what I am doing? That is some important.
Don't ever stop asking yourself that question. As soon as you get successful and you start saying, I don't need to go to that workshop, I don't need to go to that Zoom, I don't need that webinar, because I know everything. Oh, you're dead. Never assume you know everything. You can always get a nugget or something you learn out from every webinar, every workshop you attend. You can't attend them all, but don't think that you can avoid them all because you already know how to run a business.
Amazing. 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 We are learning, guys. This is a really good one, learning from. So let's go back and talk about your books now. You did 2 cipher books, 78 puzzles, world travel. Where does the curiosity come from to do all of this?
Well, I have always been fascinated with science fiction fantasy. I love that stuff. Try this sometime. At night, go into your living room. Tell everybody to go away. Go in your living room, sit down on your couch, close your eyes so you have no sensory input through your eyes. Listen, okay? And let your mind just go wherever it's going to go. When I used to mountain bike at nights, I would go mountain biking at nights, and we would stop in the woods wherever we were, and we would sit down. And now, if you do that, everything is quiet because all the animals are waiting for you to make a move. In with about 10 or 15 minutes, they've given up on you, and the forest comes alive with sights and sounds of animals, of insects and birds and everything else. The same thing. If you allow yourself, and it's not a meditation thing or anything, but if you allow yourself to let your imagination just fly wherever it's going to go without sensory input, hearing or thinking, or looking and seeing and so forth, you come up
Wow.
with some great fantasy stories, and that's what I came up with. And the main story about this guy that is the protagonist in the book is that there is greatness in all of us. Every one of us has some greatness there somewhere. Most of the times it doesn't come out. Okay, we get stuck in our lives. We get run in a routine and so forth. But everybody, inside of everybody that's listening to this podcast, there's greatness in you somewhere. You just got to find it.
You made me feel like I just felt great. Even the way you said it, I felt like something ignited inside of my system. There is greatness inside of me. I'm repeating it.
There
There
is.
is greatness inside of me. There is
There
greatness
is.
inside of me.
I promise you.
So if you're listening to this right now, say it just the way Mark said it. Say it loud wherever you are, sitting in your living room or in your office. Just repeat it. There is greatness inside of me. And let's also practice what he did. Go to your living room, sit somewhere, close your eyes, and let your system just wander. That is just so amazing. And I will be doing that tonight. I want to ask you, how has nearly 50 years of marriage and partnership, the way you and Lynn do business together? Because I have talked to couples, some of them cannot do business together at all. But from the way you're talking, it seems like you guys have been working together. So can you talk about that just a little bit here?
Sure. 49 years, 2 months, and 29 days today. Mission statement of the Mark Rogo Corporation, and my staff and my buyers agents, we all know, and they'll tell you, we nickname my wife HRH, Her Royal Highness. And the mission statement of the Mark Rogo Corporation is keep Lynn happy. At the end of the day, but that's all I care about. I care about my wife being happy. I care about her health. I care about that she's comfortable. She can go visit the grandkids, whatever she wants to do. She's really kind of checked out of real estate. But when I need her to do certain things, she checks back in and does it. But just want her to be happy. And I remember at one of those Coldwell Banker, we're with Compass now, but one of those Coldwell Banker graduating classes, 200 agents graduating. And at the back of the room, the hand goes up and he says exactly what you're asking. He says, you're with each other day and night.
I know.
How do you do it? And I said, really simple. I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's it.
So
And
you
I
say
said,
yes, mom, even when you don't want to say yes, or even when you don't agree?
nothing's that important. If she wants to do it a certain way, fine, we'll do it that way. I may argue and say, no, I think we should follow this strategy. But if she's really insistent on it, fine, we do that way. I don't really care. I care that my
Wow.
wife feels good about herself and that she enjoys what she's doing and that her health is good, and so forth. That's what I care about. That's
Yes.
what we all care about. I'm not
Yes.
unique in this. We all
Yes.
care about it. That's how we all care.
Exactly. And that's just amazing. That is really just amazing. You're talking about like true love, true marriage is to just keep your wife happy. So through the process of the jobs, the businesses, marriage and everything, can you talk about a really challenging time? Because we all face a challenging time, right?
Yes.
And I just want the listeners to know that it's not always like rosy and money and the top this and
No, not at all.
that. So give some stories or some examples of what the challenges were and how did you navigate through situations like that?
Well, at one point in my machinery career, it was just declining as manufacturing was leaving, particularly aerospace in California. As aerospace was leaving California, that was the backbone of my business. My profits declining and cutting back and cutting back and cutting back. I still had my wife and my two daughters, and I had a mortgage, and I had cars and so forth like everybody else. And it got to the point where my expenses were outstripping my income for a couple of years. And I knew I needed to do something. And I was at the tail end of liquidating, the machines that I held in stock around the world that we were in the process of selling. But I went through 2 or 3 years when my income wasn't enough to really support my family. And by the grace of God, I was the luckiest guy in the world because, I had a wonderful father-in-law and a wonderful father. These men were the giants in my life, two polar opposites, but both of them, for different reasons, captain in their own industry. My father ran from scratch the biggest used machinery business in the Western United States, the one that I ended up owning. And my father-in-law and his two brothers were the world's, at one point for 10 years or something, world's largest independent studio. They started from nothing. And both of them were incredibly supportive of me. Both of them recognized that if they helped me out financially, I was not going to take advantage of it, that I was still going to work hard no matter what. And both of them came to me with, I don't know the right words, but came to me trying to take in some of my pain and my anguish and my embarrassment, okay, and take it in themselves and let me know, don't worry about it. You've got your kids, you've got your wife, you've got your health. We'll throw some money at you and you'll make it through. You'll figure out how to get out of this. You'll figure out what to do. And that's when I started really looking around what to do this. And Lynn did the same thing. It's Lynn that had lunch with a good family friend who said, Lynn, you're outgoing and you're very pretty and you understand things. You're very smart. Why don't you go to real estate? It's a great sales job and you're a great salesperson. And Lynn went into real estate and just took off. I mean, Coldwell Banker didn't know what to do with her, but Lynn had been PTA president and involved in Hadassah and other organizations, and she put all that Rolodex together and bang, off she took. So as I was dwindling down, I said, you know what, It says, why don't you join me in real estate? And I said, okay, that's what we'll do together. Now, Lynn's uncle, a very smart man, major player in Hollywood, a guy named Walter Mirisch, who's never asked me for lunch before in my life, said, Mark, we got to have lunch. Wow. We had lunch. He says, Mark, you've got a great marriage. You've got a wonderful family. Why are you going into business with your wife? That is a sure bet formula for a disaster. And he tried to talk me out of this at lunch. I said, Walter, I swear to God, I've been traveling and everything so much. I'm so happy to actually be home for a while. And I said, Lynn and I are going to do this together. And we're opposites in so many ways. I said,
Right.
it's a great fit.
Yes.
Well, Walter was wrong. I was right.
Yes.
And it's been great for Lynn and I, you know.
Yeah. No, I am happy that it worked out. And this is also to encourage some of the listeners and the viewers that, can partner with their partners and generate income and impact that, Mark has done it and you too can do it, right? And
Anybody
sometimes it's
can
not
do
to
it.
listen to the naysayers because they mean
No.
well, but they don't understand your own situations. So,
Have
Mark,
faith in your own abilities. Have faith in your own abilities and never listen to the naysayers. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
Always say, I can do it. God darn it,
I
I can do
can
it. I
do
know I
it.
can do it, and I'm
I
going
know
to
I can
do
do
it.
it. I'm going to do it. See, I'm repeating it, and I hope you guys listening will repeat it. Always say, I can do it. I know I can do it. I am able to do it. So these are the nuggets that we are taking tonight. Mark, for agents or leaders eyeing the niche market, what is the first step to building credibility fast?
Well, first of all, be honest and be intelligent and know what the hell you're talking about. But second of all, do the infrastructure work ahead of time. Build your contact list. Build a list of everybody that, I don't care if they barely have a pulse, but build a list, your initial contact list of whatever it is you're going to do. If you're going to go back to law school at night for 4 years while you're doing your day job, start building your new client list. If you're going to go into real estate, get that list of everybody that's got a pulse because anybody is a potential client on what a customer, patient, whatever it is that you're going to do. But just don't cut corners. Do it the right way. Educate yourself. Pay attention to detail. Listen to the marketing gurus. Build your client list and have the passion for it. If you're doing something, you're just saying, oh my God, I can't believe I talked myself into this wrong career path. You have to have that passion. You have to have that light that
Right.
lights you up every day. And you say, my God, I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to go to work.
Because you're working, and because you're working in your passion, it won't even seem like you're working because you're
No,
doing it so happily,
the difference
right?
between a career and a
Mhm.
job.
Exactly. So for young professionals or for people that are looking at using their unique experiences and expertise, just like you did, into real estate or writing book or coaching, or what is the first step? Like this show is all about leaders, professionals, business owners that, for example, they are stuck in corporate America. They hate going to work and they want to follow their passion. They want to use that gift, that skill that God has given them to create impact, generate income, and be there for their families. So, what advice or recommendation would you give people like that?
Well, there are people who specialize in analyzing exactly that. These are, I forgot the name for them, industrial psychologists or something like that. These are the people that can sit down with you and ask a lot of questions to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, understand your personality, understand your level of intellect, okay, which is my drawback. I'm not an intellect, not by a long shot. I like to think I am, but I'm really not. And just like lay out, you take a piece of paper and you draw a line down the middle and the pluses and the minuses, and then they're able to suggest to you one or two or three career paths. When they do that, then you've got your research to do.
Right.
Go talk to your friends. If he says a psychologist, go talk to your friends who are psychologists and find out if that's a field that you really want to pursue. Don't assume you know what a psychologist does. Sits in an office all day long and listens to people 45 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever it is, writes notes for 10 minutes, and then on to the next patient. No, you've got to talk to people to find out what they really
Right.
do. And, and everything today is a specialty, even real estate. There's no such thing as a residential real estate agent. Okay. You're dead if you think you're going to end up being, what do they say? A master of none and a specialist in nothing. Residential real estate, you can be in land, you can work on hillside areas only, low-rise condominiums only, high-rise condominiums, single-family residences, income property. There's all kinds of specialties. Commercial real estate, you can do anything from a strip mall to a medical building, to a shopping center. Okay, if you're going to be a psychologist, you can be corporate psychologist. Good friend of mine, wonderful woman named Tam. She was the psychologist for the athletes on the Sparks.
Wow.
And she worked for a year on a program, University of Oklahoma, in Norman, Oklahoma.
Right.
It isn't just sitting in an office. There's a lot more. You need to really research
Right.
feels that the industrial psychologist recommends, and become a specialist so you know which one is going to spark your
Right.
passion.
Love it. Exactly what I always say. Get a coach, get a mentor, do a research, go to the expert, go to seek for help, and let somebody help you. Mark said something here over and over again. No cutting of corners, guys. Follow the process. Do your research. Go to the expert. Read the books. Attend podcasts. Listen to best practices, what people have done, what has worked, what has not worked. So we are learning a lot here tonight. So looking at the next 12 to 24 months, what are you looking at? Like your next couple of months? What is your next step? I
Well,
know.
there's a guy in our business who coaches agents. A guy named Steve Schul. He's a very smart guy, very accomplished. And Steve said something to me a long time ago, which was, if you really send out that email every month, the postcard every month, an email once or twice a week, taking people to coffee, if you're constantly churning to build more clientele and stay in touch with people that have actually done business that you have represented, after 5 years, you don't have to send out the postcard and you don't have to send out the email. It just keeps coming back. And that's where we are. Our business now is just repeat business. It's repeat business coming back over and over and over again. And that's our source. So right now we're actually in the middle of a 3-year plan where I am working. I now have an assistant, an incredible woman named Barbara, who really takes a big load off my shoulders of the minutia, the little things, okay, that I should not be doing at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
10 o'clock at night, I should be doing things that I really love, like writing my third book. I've already
What is
got
the
the
topic of
outline.
your third book? I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. That the third book, I've got the outline done. My autobiography, I've got the outline done. I love doing those jigsaw puzzles, number 78. I'm working on in my living room. I love to play golf. I belong to a wonderful country club where you have a beautiful 18-hole course. And I love to travel. If you look at that map behind me, there's the pins where I've been all over the world. And
Oh,
I just
wow.
signed up for a trip to Morocco in March and a humanitarian trip to Costa Rica in February. That's
Amazing.
where I want to be spending a little bit more of my time.
Right.
And that's where my assistant's going to help me out. And my 2 buyer's agents, they're also picking up a lot of it. If I share the commission income with them, then they'll do the open houses and they'll do the showings and they'll do the inspections and so forth. And so I don't have to spend every Sunday at open house.
Right. Because
I can take my beautiful trophy wife, out for lunch on a Sunday afternoon or something.
because you have built and built, so you are really in a good place. So what should luxury professionals prepare for? Is there any shift in the market? What nuggets can you give for those in that space right now?
Well, if you're accomplished and you've done the right things and the right things include, by the way, we're seeing a lot of people that did not make good people, good meaning people, just did not make good financial decisions. And so now the equity in their home is going to be their retirement plan. Not the best position to find yourself in your 70s, but luxury professionals who have made right financial decisions and so forth. Then I say to you, your days are numbered. None of us are going to live to be 150. God only knows how many more days we have together.
Yeah.
And so enjoy it more. Okay.
Mhm.
If you enjoy working and you still have the passion, go ahead, do that. But don't just do that. The
Mm.
world has so much to offer. When I go on these humanitarian trips, I am so grateful to God and to my father and to
Mm.
my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, the people that were so important in my life, to allow me to be in a position where I can travel, I can do my puzzles, I can go play golf, I can write a book, I can do all of these things. And
It's
I would
amazing.
be the biggest schmuck in the world if I didn't take advantage of it. So
Yes.
they got to figure out what their passion, what they want to do also in
Right.
life and get it done. Because you get to a point, you can't travel, you can't think about all those puzzles at one time.
Yep.
It's going to be tough to do all that research for
Yep.
another science fiction fantasy novel, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow. Super amazing. Super amazing. Do you want to give us what offer do you have? How can people contact you in case they want to get a home, a condo? No.
The greater LA area. Although I have on a number of occasions, people have called me and I have found an agent for them. But no, I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to work with people. I love people. I love the story behind everybody. Everybody's got a great story. I could write 1,000,000 books if I would sit down and learn everybody's story. It's so exciting. But, keep a positive attitude. Stay a cup half full kind of a person. Kind of recognize all of us in this country. You may think that you're down and out and things are bad. You have no idea how lucky you are.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
with me on a humanitarian trip where
Yeah.
they're just wondering if they're going to even be able to have a meal at the end of the day. And
Mm,
if they're going to have to put up with dirty water and watch their kids get sick with diarrhea. Okay. We in this country just don't understand how lucky by the grace of God we are to
Yep,
be
the
where we
grace
are
of
and who
God.
we are.
The grace of God has really
I
set
pinch
you up.
myself every day when I
Mm,
wake up and realize how lucky I am in
wonderful.
every respect.
Yes, yes. So this has been so amazing, Mark, having you here. We end every episode with this is a positive outcomes podcast, right? So we always ask, what is one positive outcome that you are proud of? And just one, I know you have so many, but just to end, what did it take for you to get there?
Whenever I travel, I take this picture and I have it beside my bed.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Because that's what started the whole thing. I wanted to marry her. She didn't want to marry me. But I eventually wore her down. And from there, you get my daughters, my 3 granddaughters. I had
Amazing.
a wonderful life, knowing her father and her mother, wonderful families together. That's what it's all about. But it all started with her saying
Yes,
yes. And everything good in my adult life can be traced back
to
to my
her.
wife.
Oh, wow. Such a beautiful, beautiful story. And I hope the viewers that are listening out there, how your wife can be your business partner, the one that makes you smile, the one that gives you a why to keep pushing hard, to keep going, the one that put all the puzzles together. And you're talking to Mr. Puzzle Maker too. So that is super, super, super amazing. So I want to thank everyone, all the listeners for listening tonight. We have learned about our self-worth. We've learned about working really hard. We've learned about never giving up, saying that I can, I will, I am. We have learned not to cut corners, follow the process. We've learned that there's going to be challenging times in our life. And we've learned about good relationship. Because if you didn't have a good relationship with your father-in-law or your dad, so we've learned about having those good relationships, maintaining it and keeping it. So please share this all over the world so people can benefit from all this nuggets and all this wisdom. So thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the Positive Outcomes podcast. Until we see you again, bye.
Thanks for listening to Positive Outcomes. Follow the show and share this episode to inspire someone's next chapter.